Those who know must teach, African proverb. Long before the Europeans invaded Africa, it was Africans, when we call ourselves Moors, that civilized Europe. All of Greece's first scholars openly admitted that their knowledge originated from African scholars. The world's first scholars were in fact Africans. African scholars introduced science, writing, math, and philosophy to the world. The world's oldest university, library, manuscripts, encyclopedia, human prosthetic, mathematical tools, medical journals are all found in Africa. Africans invented the wheel, paper, the concept of 24 hours in a day, the calendar. Africans are the first to build in stone and the first to smelt metal. The largest wall ever built in history is not the Great Wall of China. It's actually the Great Wall of Benin, located in Africa's Nigeria. It's 4 times larger than the Great Wall of China, and is even recognized by the Guinness World Records books as being the largest wall ever built. You see, your perception of Africa and our history is a whitewashed lie. And in regard to Africa's ancient Egyptian, hair sampling testings, melanate skin concentrated testings, bone density, DNA geographic, carbon date testing of the ancient kingdom prove that it was built thousands of years before the first Arab and the Greeks arrived there during the 7th century. All scientific facts irrefutably proves that Africa's ancient Egyptians were in fact Africans. Anything to the contrary, they're gaslighting you. The Greek scholar Herodotus, who was educated by Egyptians, described the ancient Egyptians as having very dark skin with woolly hair, like their neighbors to the south, the Kushites. In 1787, after visiting Egypt, scholar Count Divolny said, "Just think, this race of black men that are slaves and the object of scorn is the very race which we owe art, science, and even the use of speech." Even the well-known Arab Egypt archaeologist Zahi Hawass had been forced to finally admit that the ancient Egyptians had very dark skin, unlike the Arabs that are now there today. All facts that show that Africa's ancient Egyptians were in fact Africans. Anything else to the contrary are gaslighting lies. And we are not the true Jews from an easily proven fictional Bible written by our most ungodly and deceitful enemies. That claim that we're found within a Bible written by them is an idiotic claim. Our true hidden identity is that we are the people that civilized the world. We enlightened the world with knowledge. And in spite of having been invaded, enslaved, and brutally persecuted for 400 years, most inventions that revolutionized the world either came from our minds directly or was inspired by early inventions that came from our minds. White historians cannot teach a true great history of Africans because then they would have to admit that they interrupted that great history. They also cannot teach of our many true great contributions made following their invasion and enslavement of us, because to do so would destroy the myth of their racial superiority over us. This is why they marginalize everything about us. However, because our enemies writes our narrative and falsely negatively distorts them, in doing so, they've conditioned millions of us to perceive ourselves through a false, marginalized identity that aids them in maintaining their social dominance over us. Moreover, and to our own detriment, white oppressive forces have literally dumbed down the minds of millions of our people. They've dumbed down the minds of the people that civilized the world and built the pyramid to such an extent that millions of us now firmly believe many things that literally insults our own intelligence. And most of us don't even care. The most idiotic belief of them all is the belief that a Bible written by immoral Romans that routinely engaged in massive orgies and death sports, and that was subsequently brutally beaten into the blood-soaked minds of our ancestors by their ungodly enslavers, that also raped, maimed, tortured, castrated, and murdered them, contained the true words of God and the path to our salvation. That belief is an absolutely idiotic one. But millions of otherwise very intelligent and even highly educated black people believes that idiotic story. An idiotic story that literally insults their own intelligence. And they get mad when you point out how idiotic it is. You have been mentally enslaved by the white society's monopoly over narratives that are fed into your minds. Those of us who tell you the truth are trying to free you from a mental prison that you don't even know you're trapped within. In the age of information, black mental slavery is now a personal choice. You can truly believe in idiotic things. Wake up. We are the people who civilize the world. We are the people who build the pyramids. People function based upon the narratives they're fed about themselves. And the white society maintain their dominance by feeding us marginalized narratives about ourselves and exalting false narrative about themselves. Everything they teach us are lies that exalt themselves and marginalizes us. And in doing so, they've created a psychological prison for our minds. They have us calling ourselves niggers. Niggers psychologically condition us to function from an inferior position. We have to recognize they've totally studied the mind, and they've used that gained knowledge of their study of the human mind to mentally enslave us. It's time to wake up to the truth of our plight and condition. One love and peace.